Welcome back. So what we're looking at today is 5.4, pampering and feeding times. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So for this first part here, we're writing linear equations in standard form and in slope-intercept form. So what we're given is standard form, notice, and what we need to do is convert it to our slope-intercept form, which remember is y equals mx plus b. So we're going to look at number one together. So what we do for number one, our goal, if we look over here, is to get it to y equals, well, right now we have 7x minus 14y equals negative 56. So first thing we need to take and do, I'm going to move this up a bit so I can write above, is we're going to take our 7x and we're going to subtract it from both sides. So now we have negative 14y equals negative 7x minus 56. Well, we're closer. We have it into y equals mx plus b. So we've got the mx plus b. But can we leave the 14 on the y? No, we can't. So we have to divide by negative 14 on both sides. So we end up with y equals negative 7 divided by negative 14 is a positive 1/2 x, and negative 56 divided by negative 14 is a positive 4. So now we have our slope-intercept form, y equals 1/2 x plus 4. So same idea for 2 and 3. Subtract or add your x term to the other side, depending on its sign, and then divide by the number attached to your y. All right, now the second part, rewrite the given equations so that they are in standard form. So we want it to be an ax plus by equals c. Now, the key thing with standard form is we don't have fractions. So a, b, and c have to be whole numbers, and our a value has to be positive. So the value attached to the x has to be a positive number. So first one we're going to do is number 4. So we have y equals 7x minus 3. So first thing we do, we need to move the x to the other side. So subtract 7x, subtract 7x. So we have negative 7x plus y equals negative 3. Are we done there? Can we leave it like that? No, we can't. We can't have that negative on the 7x. So we multiply everything by a negative 1. So we end up with 7x minus y equals 3. That is our answer. So anytime you have a negative on your x value, which is the a term, you have to change all the signs because a has to be positive. All right, the next one we're going to look at is number 8. So we start off the same way. We're going to subtract the 3/5 x from both sides. So we end up with a negative 3/5 x plus y equals negative 2. Now, can we leave it like this? No, we can't. There's a whole bunch of things that are going wrong in this. So first off, our a term is a fraction. Can we have a fraction? No, we cannot have fractions in standard form. It has to be whole numbers. And a is also negative. Can it be negative? No, it has to be positive. So to get rid of a fraction, you multiply by its denominator. So we're going to multiply everything by negative 5. So that's going to take care of both the negative and the fact that there's a fraction. So our answer then is going to be 3x, because this 5 and the 5 in the denominator cancel. So the 5 on the outside and the 5 in the denominator cancel, and the negatives cancel each other. Now we take negative 5 times y. So we have minus 5y equals negative 5 times negative 2, which is positive 10. So that's how we get from slope-intercept form to standard form. Key thing, do not have fractions in your answers, and do not let your a term, or the number attached to your x value, ever be negative. Okay? All right. Our next section. So writing inequalities from a real world problem. Graph the inequalities. On a final for a creative writing course, Ben was required to write a combination of at least 10 poems or paragraphs. Ben knew that each poem would take him 30 minutes to write, while a paragraph would only take 10 minutes. Ben was given 2 hours to complete the exam. We want to write an inequality to model each constraint. So constraint is your keyword for this lesson. Constraints. So put an S on the end, actually. Hint, one constraint is time and the other is the number of needed items. Let X be the number of poems written and Y be the number of paragraphs written. And then we're going to graph each inequality on the coordinate grid. So we're going to take and have both the equations, and then I'm going to graph one of them, and then you will graph the other. So for the inequality about number of items needed, he has to write a combination of at least 10, so we're going to have 10 greater than or equal to poems or paragraphs. Well, it tells us poems is X and paragraphs is Y, so X plus Y is greater than or equal to 10 because he could have more than 10. He's not limited. So now we want to take and do the time limit. So the other constraint being time. So how many minutes does it say it's going to take him to write a poem? So poem, take him 30 minutes. So we're going to have 30x plus, how many minutes did it say the paragraph would take? 10. So plus 10y. And what is his time limit? He was given 2 hours. Now, can we just write a 2 over here? No, we cannot write a 2. We have to take and, we have to take and do it in terms of minutes because our constraints are minutes, so we need everything in the same unit. So 2 hours is the same thing as 120 minutes. So now we take and graph these. So for this first one, there's different ways to do it. You can take and find the intercepts and then plot those points and then graph it. You could put it into slope-intercept form to graph. I'm going to use the intercepts because that's a lot easier for this. And the edges of this graph are going to be my x and y axes. So for this first one, we have x-intercept is going to be 10. Y-intercept will also be 10 because when we plug 0 in for y, x is 10. When we plug 0 in for x, y is 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there is 1 and then 1, 2, 3. And there's our other one. Now we draw a line between these. Mine's really wavy. So there is our line. It is a solid line because we have an equal to here because he can take 10 minutes to do it. Or he can do 10 poems, but he could do more. And so if we think about this, it's saying that he can do more than 10. So that means it's everything above because he can do 10 at least, but he can do more than that. So it's everything above this line. So on the next one, find your intercepts, graph it, and then figure out which side you need to shade it on. All right. Substituting a value to check if it's a solution. Determine whether h equals 3 is a solution to each problem. So we have our equations, we have what it equals, and we're just going to plug in 3 for h and see if the left side equals the right side in this first case. So making sure they equal the same things. So 3 times 3 minus 4 equals negative 3. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 equals negative 3, and that is true. So yes, it does work, or true. The next one I'm going to do is 15. So we have 3/5 is less than or equal to h times 1/5. So 3/5 is less than or equal to 3 times 1/5. We multiply 3 and 1/5, we get 3/5. So is 3/5 less than or equal to 3/5? Yes, it is, because we have that equal to sign. All right, I will tell you in this section, the 11 through 16, there is one that is no. There is one that is no. So make sure you solve through and check all of them. All right, determine the value of x that makes each equation true. So we're solving on these. So we have 3x plus 5, or 3 times x plus 5 equals 20. So the first thing you want to do is distribute. So we have 3x plus 15 equals 20. Next, we need to subtract the 15. So we have 3x equals 5. Last but not least, we divide by 3. So we end up with x equals 5/3. And yes, you can get decimals for these, so don't worry if you do. All right, the next one we're going to do is this one right here. We have 2x plus 3 equals 2x minus 5. So start with, I'm going to start with the x's to show you what happens here, because this is a unique problem. So we subtract the 2x. The 2x's both just canceled out, and we're left with 3 equals -5. Is this a true statement? No, it's not. So there are no solutions. So anytime your variable cancels out and you're left with just constants, if they are the same, so if this would have been 3 equals 3, it'd be all real numbers would be your answer. But because it's a false statement, 3 does not equal -5, it's no solution. So sometimes that will happen, so be careful with those. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.